Hello, everybody. Welcome to HG Movie Talk. I am Harlan or Fluffy Duffy, whatever, and I'm joined here by my co-host today, Deans or no Dean or Dean's Beans. Your name's not Deans.
You did not nail that intro at all. Sorry to say.
I actually beg to differ.
I think you called me your co-host.
Okay. Oh, that was my American accent. So
Sure, let's blame it on that. Okay, well, welcome to an episode of The Silver Lining. Welcome, Harlan.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome, everyone listening at home.
Yes.
I just paused to let them say thank you. So this is episode 13 of The Silver Lining. Unlucky number 13 means we need to watch an unlucky movie.
This...
I think the real unlucky ones are us for having to watch this movie.
Yeah.
In preparation for the Batman coming out in a couple of weeks, we're talking about Batman and Robin.
Yo, I got to be completely transparent with you. This is the worst movie we've watched yet.
I disagree, but
I don't.
Well, obviously you don't disagree because you just said it. It's not how it works.
Well, I'm very passionate about my hatred for this movie now. I wasn't before, but I really had a tough time watching this movie.
This is going to be interesting. Okay. Are we going to do a quick plot synopsis of Batman and Robin?
Sure, go for it.
George Clooney movie?
George Clooney nipple movie.
Why are you calling it the George Clooney nipple movie?
Because
he's got nipples.
Yeah.
He's not the only one.
Oh.
I don't know what that means. Okay, basically, Batman and Robin are established crime fighters and quick villain origin stories. I'm just going to breeze through all of these like the movie should have. Number one, there's a guy called Mr. Freeze and his wife's dying of a disease and he fell into a vat of cold. And he can't survive outside of his suit or in freezing cold temperatures, so he has to steal diamonds to try and get money to save his wife, I think. Poison Ivy, let's go. Bane, some guy had some drugs injected him and he's a big strong guy. Poison Ivy got pushed into some plants and was like, hey, I'm gonna be the plant person and I'm gonna save all the plants and Bane's gonna be my sidekick. And Mr. Freeze gets thrown into Arkham by Batman and Robin after a fight. Actually, no, that happens later, but let's just jump to that bit now, you know. And where was I? Poison Ivy has some kind of magical effect on Batman and Robin, and she wants to destroy the plants, and she breaks Mr. Freeze out of prison. Meanwhile, Alfred's niece, Barbara Wilson, is visiting and Alfred's dying, which isn't great, but Barbara Wilson is going like illegal street races and stuff to get money to get Alfred out of Gotham. And Poison Ivy tricks Mr. Freeze into thinking that Batman killed his wife. So then Mr. Freeze is like, hey, let's freeze all of Gotham. And then Poison Ivy's like, yeah, and then we can make more plants. And Bane's like, grah. And yeah, and then Batman and Robin and Barbara Wilson beat them up.
I have never had this much hate in my heart for a movie.
Okay.
And I don't even I don't know where to start.
How to say this?
Well, okay. I think
I'm choosing my words carefully here. I had fun with this movie. This is a podcast. You kind of need to feel the silence.
I'm really disappointed in you, Dean.
Okay. I understand that this movie is awful. But are you telling me that you didn't like laugh or have a little chuckle while watching certain parts of this movie?
Me and my dad were screaming at the TV.
There, honestly, I laughed out loud at this movie on multiple occasions. I like parts of it. I was like, "This is good. This is great stuff." And like they were the opposite, probably the same bits you were screaming at.
So, okay, what were what are some good parts of this movie you have?
The music.
Okay, I have that too. The music was cool. It was bad at some points because it kind of this movie came out in the 90s. It kind of had like some punk music, and
What about like the saxophone whenever Poison Ivy came on screen?
there are some parts that aren't good, but there is actually some. I think, well, especially this music does not match the movie at all.
Yeah.
But it's good music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what else do you have on your good list?
Bruce and Alfred. I liked their relationship.
I would have if George Clooney like acted, or if any of the people, even Alfred, man.
I
What
like the
was
bit in the movie when he's like, "Hey, I love you, old man," and they just have nice banter. Those two.
Yes, but like, I understand. I understand. I understand.
You are in so much pain, and I am enjoying this.
I like literally the only thing in my good category is the soundtrack.
No
It's like
way. Are you
good
kidding? I've got quite
soundtrack.
okay.
And then bad, like everything.
Okay. I've
Me and my dad literally were like, I told him like I have to find something. I have to find good things with this movie. And me and my dad and my mom left halfway through because she couldn't take it. But me and my dad just watched it and we couldn't find anything good.
Okay. Next thing on my good list, Mr. Freeze's pajamas. I enjoyed that. That made me chuckle.
You know what? Actually, no. I take this. There's another good thing. Mr. Freeze's makeup.
Yeah.
I thought was pretty good. It looked pretty cool. The frozen of it all, and like he had the the contacts that like got foggy at the end because he was. I think that was well done.
And speaking of the end, when he's all like on the floor, and then Bruce Wayne's like, "Hey, your wife's not dead, and can you help save Alfred?" I like that moment. I think it's quite nice. Where Bruce has a line where he's like, "Hey, it's easy to take away a life, but giving life is amazing," or something like that. And I'm like, that's nice. Nice moment.
Okay, I'll give you that. Sure.
The best part of the movie, without a doubt, I cannot explain to you how much I laughed at this scene. And I could give you 100 guesses and you're never going to guess what moment I'm about to say.
Can I get one?
Go on.
Sorry, there's so many. Is it when the second time it's just a close up on Bane flexing his muscles? He goes, "Argh!"
No, but it is a Bane moment. It's a bit where, after like a really long action scene, I think at the fundraiser, like of it, Poison Ivy like fights a bit, Mr. Freeze fights a bit, and then everyone's gone, and Poison Ivy is talking, and then the guy in another monkey suit takes off his mask, and Bane was in the monkey suit the entire time, just standing there doing nothing. I laughed so loud, and I don't know why. I just loved the fact that Bane was just somewhere chilling in there in a massive monkey suit.
God. The most criminal thing this movie does is Bane.
That made me laugh so much, was Bane in that monkey suit.
That was kind of funny. Especially both Poison Ivy and Bane in the monkey suit.
Yeah, were there two monkeys? Or I guess
there were two monkeys.
Okay.
There were.
I want to know. Can we see the deleted scene of them like getting ready for that moment where they're like, "Hey, let's get into our monkey suits."
Dude, if I have to listen to Uma Thurman talk in that voice like any longer, I'm going to lose my mind.
Okay, what else do I have on my good list? Honestly, I liked the ice hockey henchmen. I thought they were quite a nice touch.
You did?
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense because it's Mr. Freeze.
I just thought, hey, that's fun. And then I see, the thing is, I think the difference in you and I is I kind of enjoy the moments. Like, in my mind, I know it's bad, but deep in my soul, I derive pleasure from moments like where Batman bangs his boots together and then ice skates come out. When stuff like that happens, I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so like my dad,
yeah,
when I was growing up, we idolized the first Batman movie
mm-hmm.
and we demonized this one. So like I did have, because like you could look at it as like, oh my god, it's so funny because it's so bad. But I look at it as, because this is the same franchise as the Michael Keaton one.
Yeah.
So with that said, I can't look at it any differently than I would Batman.
That's interesting. I just think.
Oh, you know what? Okay. I had another good thing about this movie.
Go on.
The CGI is pretty good for 1997.
Yeah.
There are some parts where it's like full body CGI Batman and Robin. And I'm like, that doesn't look good, but it looks good for 1997.
Honestly, apart from the obvious nipple thing, I like Batman's suit in this. I like the silver detailing on it.
Well, yeah.
And the Robin looks pretty good as well. Like,
I do like the Robin suit. The Robin suit,
yeah.
I do really like. I'm not actually a big fan of the silver detailing, but I do think that George Clooney's like original, like his typical suit is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely my least favorite out of
fair enough.
All the different ones. But also, I hate Batgirl's outfit.
Do you?
Yeah, because you can barely even see the Bat logo.
Yeah. Did you know? Okay. Fun fact for you, Mr. Fun Fact.
Yeah.
She got big attention in the press when this movie came out because a lot of her scenes were cut because they had to make her a new suit because she put on a couple pounds. Like she gained a little bit of weight, so they had to like refit the suit and everything and change it about. I'm not saying that's why the suit lacks detail or whatever, but that might be the reason why. And like that was in the press so much, and then Joel Schumacher, who directed this, was mad about it, and he kept like getting really annoyed with journalists in interviews and stuff whenever they mentioned it.
That's strange.
He was sticking up for her because
not.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
Not that Joel Schumacher stood up for no. What? Why would Joel Schumacher say that? No, but I thought that's weird. The media would.
Yeah,
that's.
I mean, yeah. I don't know how old she is in this, but it like from the looks of it, it seemed like she was very.
She was pretty young.
Younger than I thought she would be.
Yeah, but I don't really like the Batgirl suit, and also the cowl of Batgirl.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have a cowl, does it? It's got the domino mask.
Well, she does at one point.
Yeah, when she rides, it's true. Yeah,
that's not good. But I don't know. The silver detailing is cool, but really they only did that to Subway toys.
Yeah,
like that's what all movies do. But like this movie literally was made to make toys.
Yeah.
Which you can tell.
Mm-hmm. And that's something Joel Schumacher complained about when he's like, oh yeah, the studio just kept wanting me to add toys and blah, blah, blah.
What else do you have in your good list?
Well, unless we want to talk about Mr. Freeze's pajamas again, I think that might be it.
Okay.
I kind of do want to talk about Mr. Freeze's pajamas again, though. Do you know, like, I saw that and I was like, yes, this is like, I don't know why. I'm just like,
I think my brain was so fried at that point. I didn't even like notice that it was something weird. I was just like, oh, he's in pajamas. Okay. Obviously, he's not wearing a suit, so he would have pajamas on.
It was like a nice, yeah. And then he was trying to get everyone to sing. That was nice.
Honestly, my favorite part of this entire movie was when I could just watch that little Santa Claus.
I'm Mr. White Christmas.
Yeah.
And then he's like,
something good.
Okay, how many ice puns do you think Mr. Freeze says in this movie? Because I have the number here.
I'm gonna guess 75.
You're way off. It was 27.
Oh, well, it feels like 75.
Also, I laughed. I think it was just the stupidity of it, but I quite enjoyed the opening um, lines of this movie. Do you remember them?
Chicks dig the car.
He goes, I want a car. Chicks dig a car, and then Batman just turns and goes, "This is why Superman works alone." And I'm like, that's funny.
Right when that happened, like I looked at my dad and I was like, "Oh no!"
But imagine if they like put that joke in like the Lego Batman movie. I think that would work.
That would be funny because it would work with the tone of the movie.
But the tone of the movie is that. That's the tone of this movie.
But it's not, because it takes itself seriously at times. When Lego Batman takes itself seriously, it takes itself seriously satirically.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't know what it is. It tries to be two things. Sorry. Ooh, Harlan, chill out.
I was looking forward to talking about this with you because you seem to be like, you're so anti this. And I was watching this and I was like, yeah.
Like literally, like I don't like to text you when I'm like, I try to keep everything from you till we talk about it.
Yeah.
But I was watching it last night and I was like, I can't stand this. I need to tell Dean how much I'm hating this movie.
Should I find what was the message you actually said? Because it did make me chuckle. Let me find this. Here we go.
I think, well, when I sent it to you, it must have been like 3 a.m. for you.
Yeah, you sent it to me at 3 a.m. and all the message I saw was, Dean, this movie is so bad. And it made me laugh. Not as much as this movie did. Okay. I think some of the there was some cool choreography in this movie.
I disagree. I think this movie, when it comes to the action scenes, were shot terribly.
I get that. I just like some of the big jumps near the start and things like that.
The stupid wire jumps.
Yeah.
My dad was like, it's funny how they can float whenever they need to.
It worked for Robin. Sorry, I'm trying to think of an ice pun. I can't think of one.
Sorry, Dean, you froze up. Okay, so can we get to the
You
see I beat you to the ice fun. I beat you to the ice fun.
Oh.
You can't think of one again, can you?
Oh, you stayed real cool then. Okay.
What? That was a good attempt, but I think
he says in this movie he freezes Robin and then he goes, "Stay cool, bird boy."
Oh my god, when he freezes Robin. I hate this.
Okay.
Freezes Robin to get away.
Yeah.
All Batman does is throws him in a pool of water and heats up the water.
Yeah.
He could have run and still caught
he could have.
Mr. Freeze easily.
Tonight's forecast, a freeze is coming.
So dumb. Okay, can we get to the bad?
I hate when people talk during the movie.
Oh my god. Okay. Can I
If revenge is a dish best served cold, then put on your Sunday finest. It's time to feast.
You're killing me, Dean. Okay. I'll
kill you next time, Batman.
I literally just I have every character in the bad category. So
okay, should we go through them? Okay. Should we go from best to worst?
Ooh, I don't have them in best to worst, but I guess
neither do I.
Okay. Best, I think best I'll go with
I know who I'm going with. Who are you going with?
Wait, are you going with ironically best or like
any.
Any? Okay. I'll go.
Too many to choose from.
I can choose the worst easily, but bad, like the best one. God.
Okay, what characters are we writing down? Let's write the same list. So there's Batman.
There's Batman.
Robin. Batgirl. Poison Ivy. Bane. Freeze. And let's chuck Alfred in there as well.
Okay, so now we have to rank these.
Okay. I know. Okay, I know who my first is. Do you want to hear?
Yes,
I'm gonna put Alfred first, just because
dude.
I think it was harmless. You know?
Alfred, I hated him in this movie.
Did you actually?
I thought he did terribly. Everybody did, but especially
Yeah.
him.
But I'm not saying he was great or anything. But I'm just saying, you know.
I think I'll put George Clooney Batman number 1.
Okay, that's interesting. He's third for me.
Cause like he's not good, but like I don't know.
Okay. Second, I have put Mr. Freeze. I don't know what it was, but something about it, it warmed my heart. Ironically,
Well, I don't agree with that, but we'll move on.
who would you put in second?
Robin,
Rob. Interesting.
because I don't think Chris O'Donnell is good in the role at all, but his suit is cool, and at least his character is consistent with the first movie.
Okay, in third, I've put Batman.
In third, I'll put Alfred.
Okay, and then I went Batgirl.
Okay, cool. We both have Batgirl as 4.
And then I went Robin.
Okay. Oh, okay. This is really hard. The main 3. I gotta go. Okay.
Who is the best villain in this movie?
Poison Ivy.
Really? I then went Poison Ivy in penultimate position.
I think Poison Ivy is really bad. Like god awful. But god awful. But the next 2 are worse.
Interesting. And then I assume we've both got Bane in last place.
We have Bane in last place, but right above that is Freeze for me.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger shouldn't have gotten that role. Because he was like the scenes where he actually had to act, besides for doing puns, it was unwatchable.
Let's kick some ice.
I love that man makes some pretty good movies. But this was not one of them. I love Last Action Hero.
Here's the thing. I don't even know where my opinions here are coming from. Because I love Mr. Freeze, you know? And I think, honestly, if I
as
could
a character
choose,
or like from this movie?
as a character.
Okay.
And if I could choose, the funny thing, if I could choose a villain to be put in like a modern day Batman movie, my number 1 choice would probably be the Riddler. And that's who we're getting in the Batman. And my number 2 choice, I think, would be Mr. Freeze. Like, if they went with making the Batman sequel, and Dean, because you're so great on TikTok, you get to choose who the villain is. Because I feel like they're going to ask me. I'll go.
Right, obviously.
Yeah, I'll 100% go Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze could actually be really cool.
Yeah, imagine if they did it like proper dramatically of him trying to save his wife and doing such a sympathetic villain like that.
Right. Sympathetic villain. Like Mr. Freeze is like just like a flawed dude.
Yeah. And
trying to save his wife.
And the thing is, so I love Mr. Freeze so much, and this is obviously such a perversion of that character, what Arnie does to him. It's like murdering him, burying him, and then pissing on the grave of Mr. Freeze is what Arnold does in this role. But part of me like enjoys it. I'm kind of like, yeah, go for it, because I know it's bad. It's the thing. Right. I wasn't going into this. I wasn't disappointed by anything in this movie. And I think that's why I kind of didn't hate it that much.
I think I'm disappointed in my opinion about this movie, because this seems like the type of movie that'd be like so fun to hate. But I think like it was just so ridiculous. Like there's movies that are so fun to hate, but that movie crossed that mark. Like it, like, you know, there's like, if you're looking at like a, what is it? Like a scale, right? Of
yeah,
it was just so much unwatchability. Like it lost me. And then Bane. Can we please talk about Bane?
Okay.
The disservice. If you're talking about pissing on a grave, This is the one that is like just
He
like
took a fat
drenched.
dump on the grave and then set
Yeah, just
fire
like
to
a
the dump.
steamy, moist turd.
And then just set fire to the turd. And
Yes, and marinate it in urine. Like that's what we're looking at here. Sorry for
put the fire
sorry.
out.
I'm so sorry for that explicit termage there.
Termage.
Sorry, I got a little anyways. um I don't know a lot about Bane in the comics. Like I know a good amount, but I don't know a lot.
Yeah.
But what I do know is he didn't start off scrawny white guy.
Yeah.
And also what I do know is that when he is Bane, he doesn't speak like a baby.
Yeah.
Bomb. 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 Do you remember when he did that?
Yeah. Doesn't he have a line where he goes, oh yeah, I think Poison Ivy goes, enough monkey business, and then she says something else, and then Bane just goes, monkey. And
I laughed at that.
And I feel like that made the moment funnier. Okay, yeah, I'll describe this moment again, just because I'm sure most people listening to this won't be watching this movie because they're sensible.
Please don't. Please don't. If you're in America, you have to rent it. Or I think it's on Hulu.
I had to rent it.
Even I did too.
So basically, okay, I want to talk about this moment as well because it made me laugh. Where there's a charity fundraiser at I don't know where it's hosted. It's somewhere, and a monkey comes out and starts dancing with a bunch of dancers, and then they take off the monkey suit, and underneath it's sexy Poison Ivy.
Oh, she's sexy.
And then people start bidding on her. But that's besides the point. And then there's a massive fight. And then after the fight, Poison Ivy a monkey just walks up to Poison Ivy like a guy in a giant gorilla suit. And he takes off his mask and it's Bane under there. And then Poison Ivy goes, oh, enough of this monkey business. And then Bane just goes, monkey. And I just...
My favorite Bane moment.
Yeah.
Well, there's two, actually. So my first favorite is like when he transforms, the last shot we see of him is him like going Bane, and like it's like close up on his face and he's flexing his huge biceps. Then the next shot we see of him is him doing the exact same thing. The exact same thing.
Where does the name Bane come from?
What?
Where does the name Bane come from?
Well, in the movie, it's from Bane, Bane of humanity.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Because I suddenly just thought, does he just say Bane? And I don't know. I just enjoyed the fact that Bane was just driving the car for Poison Ivy.
Oh my god,
it's so stupid.
And he was wearing like a trench coat and a hat, like the Thing.
Yeah.
And I love how, like, even though nobody knows who she is, like she hasn't done anything, like before the gala thing, she still puts on a disguise.
Yeah.
Like the Joker.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, there's a weird moment where she does go and pleads with Bruce Wayne a bit because I'm like, oh, this person's a sane person. Oh, they're not sane.
Right. I think that was actually a good Bruce Wayne moment.
Yeah. It was a good Bruce Wayne moment. It was just weird for Poison Ivy.
Yeah. It's interesting that they made her like, I don't know, that they Jim carried her. Like what they did in Batman Forever with the Riddler.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that how, I mean, I know absolutely nothing about Poison. I don't know nothing about anything, but especially Poison Ivy.
I feel like Poison Ivy, out of these three villains, is the most accurate. She's definitely like
sure.
She's definitely more like sexy and whatever than she usually is. But there's always that edge to her character because pheromones is one of her superpowers.
That's true. I think another thing that got me really angry in this movie was Batgirl when she like codes everything to make it stop
Yeah.
and hacks. The only reason I had an issue with that is because she's not smart with technology. She can't do that. She literally just guesses Alfred's password like 13 times.
She's
and then gets it.
studying computer science at Oxbridge.
Yeah, but why didn't she just hack? If she could hack government satellites, she can hack Alfred's password. What?
Yeah.
Alfred's password that's literally on his desk. But that's besides the point.
What were we? Okay, we're talking about Batgirl. I had a thought on Batgirl to share. What was it? Oh, okay. This is such a small detail, but it really annoyed me. Can you remember the name of the school they said she was going to?
Oxford?
Oxbridge, which is a combination of the. Oxbridge is a term used to describe Oxford University and Cambridge University, which are like I think you're equivalent to like Yale and Harvard. They're the best two.
Mm.
So you'd say, oh, someone goes to an Oxbridge University, which means, oh, they go to one of the best ones. Not they go to Oxbridge University.
Oh my god.
And that's just such lazy writing. And it's also said that Oxbridge is in London, which, believe it or not, Oxford is in Oxford and Cambridge is in Cambridge. But that's besides the point. It just annoyed me because I'm like, it's like saying like a movie set in England and then you just go, oh yeah, they go to Ivy League College.
This literally feels like the first draft of the script. It wouldn't surprise me.
Do you think all first drafts have this many puns?
Hopefully. I love seeing Infinity War with this many puns. Okay. I want to get into the plot.
Okay.
There's one glaring issue with this plot.
Yeah.
That bothered me the entire time in the movie.
Okay.
Freeze.
Yeah.
Wants to freeze the world.
Yeah.
Poison Ivy wants to give the world life.
Yeah.
And they teamed up together to do both those things. And Freeze goes, I will freeze over the world. And then Uma Thurman just goes, yes. God.
She's like, oh yeah, when all the humans are dead, then we can grow plants. All the plants are going to be dead too.
She'll be dead.
Yeah. Okay, talking about bits I enjoyed. After this scene where they discuss their plan, Freeze turns around and he goes, yes, Adam and evil.
I remember that one. Because my jaw literally dropped to the ground.
Okay, let's go through your bad list. Should we just do a speed round?
The puns, the costumes.
Yeah.
I don't like Freeze's costume at all.
Mm-hmm. What about the pajamas?
Well, that's different. The sets. Didn't like the sets, especially that one neon one.
Yeah.
Where they go into the hideout. The props, the back credit card, the plastic lips, which made me very uncomfortable. And they took off.
Why did he have to kiss her at all?
Well, I think he probably did it just to see if I think Robin did it to see if Batman was right or not.
Okay.
Because he was like, I'll wear plastic lips because I don't know. Maybe she wants to kiss me. Then she was like, she kissed him and she was like, you're going to die now. And then he was like, oh, okay. Bruce was right.
Okay. I thought of another good thing I like about this movie. It stated that Alfred's brother is called Wilfred.
Why?
That's a bit of fun.
Okay. Okay, I think that kind of wraps it up for my bad.
Okay. Do I have anything just okay. If we're moving into the fixing, I think the biggest thing that to sort out how to fix is, what do you think it is?
I don't know. I've been dreading this part of the podcast literally since I saw the movie because I don't know where to start.
I was gonna suggest giving more nipples and monkey suits to everyone.
Oh my god.
Okay, no. I think
you've done
the
it.
thing you have to fix is the villains.
Well, I think you need to change the director. I think you need to change the script. I think you need to change the villains or the actress that plays the villains. Because I think, well, an Ivy and Freeze villain combo could be really interesting because they have such conflicting ideals.
Yeah.
And it's shown that Poison Ivy can be good, and so can Freeze. Because neither are like pure evil.
They're both anti. Because I feel like Poison Ivy would be interesting to do in a more modern movie when climate change is such a bigger thing on people's consciousnesses.
And I think having two of them as the villains and like kind of also making it a story about them could be really interesting. I think that could be played well. You get Bane in there, makes less sense.
Yeah, I think Bane's gone.
You could get Bane separate, but I think like there's this whole arc that we haven't even touched on at all with the Batman and Robin part of the movie.
Yeah.
Where like Robin is like rebelling against Batman.
I think it works. All right.
I think you keep that because that's kind of like the focal point of the movie. I think at the end of this, you have him turn into Nightwing.
Do you know that there was a planned Nightwing movie
with Chris O'Donnell?
Yeah, there was 2 sequels to this. One is a Nightwing movie, and then one was another Batman movie with 2 villains.
Because that works.
One being Harley Quinn, and the other being Scarecrow.
But Harley Quinn with no Joker?
Yeah, well, you've already done Joker in this universe, and you're not going to get Jack Nicholson back, are you?
But Harley Quinn doesn't make sense without the Joker.
Yeah, I don't know how they would have.
Like, I mean, like Harley Quinn worked, but like to have a Harley Quinn with no Joker, like at all.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of her character is based off like the Joker.
Yeah. The plan was to get like all the previous villains to cameo though.
Really?
Like because of Scarecrow's fear toxin.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I like that idea of having all the previous villains come back.
But like, I think like it would have been cool if like, let's say we keep Batgirl in it.
Yeah.
And then Robin leaves, and then Bruce like sees that Batgirl has some potential and gets her an outfit. This is something maybe. Can we let's just get rid of that whole Alfred dying plot storyline.
Okay.
Because that doesn't. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to use I'm using 100% of my brain right now, trying to find a way to fix this movie.
Okay. So I think we just sort out the villains and then everything else will fall into place. I feel like with every bad superhero movie we've talked about, the solution is always fix the villains.
How do we fix the villains? Let's say we're keeping Poison Ivy and Freeze. Let's say we do that. We can abandon that, but let's say we do that. We have to at least keep one, I think.
Yeah.
So we can say somewhat of the same movie.
Exactly.
But I think like, how would you be able to do that?
How would you do it?
While addressing that they have conflicting ideals.
Well, I think you kind of have to do it as those two are having a war over Gotham, and it's like Batman and Robin are stuck in the middle and they need to try and stop it.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's 2 threats going on at the same time in different places, let's say. Then at the end of the movie, you can have a nice moment of Batman trusting Robin to go and sort out one of them by himself. Or something like that.
Okay. Here's an idea. Maybe in the beginning, or like the first act of the movie, kind of in the beginning of the story, Robin is pro Poison Ivy because she wants to stop Freeze from killing everything, from freezing everything over.
Yeah.
And Poison Ivy kind of coerces him into being on her side. And Batman's like, no, you don't understand what her true intentions are. She doesn't want anybody to live on planet 2. She wants
Can
total
you not
control.
tell? Her name's Poison Ivy. She's clearly the villain.
But like maybe, and then like Robin finally Robin ditches Batman, but then realizes, and then
Yeah.
defeats Poison Ivy, or like comes back to Batman. Something like that.
That works.
Do you think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But like, how does that work? So like, at what point does he realize that Poison Ivy is bad?
I don't. Well, I think for most of the movie, he's going back and forth and arguing with Batman about the idea, and then at like the midway point, he goes, and then at the start of the third act, he returns. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
So like, he goes to Poison Ivy at the end of the second act, or like
Yeah.
halfway through,
Yeah.
and then at what point does he realize that Poison Ivy is evil?
I think it's got to be the third act reveal of Batman's about to be beaten, and then Robin appears out of nowhere. It's like, bam! I'll save the day.
In the Nightwing uniform.
Yeah.
But how would that make sense? How did he get a Nightwing uniform?
He can do that before, like when he goes on his own, when he leaves. That's when he gets it.
Maybe we have like Lucius Fox
Sure.
in this movie,
Yeah.
and like we can have a scene of him like visiting Lucius.
You can even just have Alfred give it to him and be like, "Oh, here you go. Good luck on your own."
Yeah, let's just do that. So let's say like maybe his Robin uniform gets ruined from like a poison toxin from Poison Ivy. So say that happens, and they have a fight because he's like, "No, we need to stop Freeze. Poison Ivy is blah blah blah. Poison Ivy's good."
That works. But okay, this is a tricky thing
Don't yawn, Dean.
to figure out. I didn't yawn.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. It is tricky because I think the main issue I have with what we're going with right now is there's like he's like, no, screw you, Poison Ivy's good, and then he just comes in at the end. He's like, I realized Poison Ivy was bad, and then like, you know what I mean? There's like,
Yeah.
so he comes back as Nightwing, but maybe here's the thing. Maybe he can go to visit Poison Ivy outside of the Robin uniform, and he can see Poison Ivy kill somebody with a kiss.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, better put on my plastic lips."
Or maybe he just like hears a villain monologue.
Yeah.
Of Poison Ivy's plan.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, I mean, I feel like this is like, oh my god, this is totally like such like standard 90s movie. But if
it's better,
if we can get this movie up to standard, that's all we need.
We're doing better than Joel Schumacher did.
Honestly.
Come on, Joel.
Come on, Joel.
Have you ever seen a good movie directed by someone called Joel?
Never. They're always bad.
Exactly.
Okay. So, what's like the final battle? I think I think Batman should go to get Poison Ivy, and then he's having trouble, and then Robin comes in, and then they team up, and then
yeah, I do like the idea of a Poison Ivy versus Mr. Freeze fight as well, though, and then Batman kind of has to try and break it up. But maybe that can happen earlier or near the start of the movie.
Okay, Nightwing. No. Here's what we do. we have the battle, right?
Mhm.
Between Freeze and Poison Ivy.
Yes.
Is ravishing, ravishing, is that a word?
Sure.
Ravaging Gotham, and Batgirl and Batman try to stop it because Batman took Batgirl under his wing because his niece was just visiting, and then, it's looking bad. Like they both have both Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze have the jump on both people, and then Robin comes in and saves the day, earning like kind of Batman's respect and admiration, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
This is tricky.
It is really tricky. It is making a feasible, potentially watchable movie out of the 100% the worst Batman movie of all time, and maybe
Okay.
the worst superhero movie of all time.
Interesting. I can't. Okay, can we quickly divert? Can I change the conversation briefly?
No.
Okay. Anyway, so how else would we improve this movie? No, I just don't see this movie as worse than Holmes and Watson
I do.
in any stretch of the imagination.
Here's why.
Okay.
Because this movie is objectively bad.
Okay.
But Holmes and Watson, there are some jokes that make me giggle a little bit. One or two.
This movie made me laugh a lot more than Holmes and Watson did. That's all I'm saying.
But Holmes and Watson is comedy. And when I look at a comedy, I can't hate it as much as I do this, because comedy is so extremely subjective. Because
he bloody lactates in it, man.
I know, but it's comedy. Some people think that's funny. I
know.
You don't.
Wrong people. We know some of them, and they're all wrong.
Oh my god, dude! I know what this week's promo is going to be.
What's it going to be?
It's going to be me saying that this movie's worse than Holmes and Watson, obviously, because it is.
I'm going to make 100%
worse than Holmes
You
and
make
Watson.
it first, and then I'll stitch it, and I'll be like, no.
We'll figure out a way to do it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I just go with the flow. Anyway, back to trying to improve this movie.
So, what else can we change? We took out Bane. Oh, Poison Ivy's origin story, I think maybe it's just an experiment gone wrong.
Oh, yeah. I forgot how much I hated. The worst part of the movie is that evil scientist who created Bane.
So weird.
It was his hair. How on earth is Poison Ivy working for this guy? Literally, I would walk into that job interview and I would go, "Oh, this guy's an evil scientist." Like immediately. Did you see what he looked like and the way he talked?
Yeah.
And while Pamela, whatever her name is, was doing her stop yawning, doing her experiments in one room, you literally hear him evil laughing in the other room. And she's like, I wonder what he's doing in there.
And then she just walks in. She says, like, he never lets me in there. And then she just goes in, and the scientist is like, oh, hey.
Why did she go in that time? What's going on? You know? Well, I just don't understand.
So we need to change this origin story.
Yes.
I think it could really just be she's doing something. She's trying to experiment. A vial explodes, gets over her, and she falls down. More things fall on her, and then she sinks into that hole.
Sure. Whatever. Who cares? Thinking about this, I've turned around on this movie. It was bad, okay? You got me. I've been joking this entire time. It's bad.
Worse than Holmes and Watson?
No. Can you not remember the full breakdown I had in that episode?
Well, I think Sherlock is a little bit closer to you than Batman is.
Yeah, Batman's all the way in Gotham, which is fictional, while Sherlock's in London. Just what? What's his?
Well, all it took was that mad scientist, wasn't it?
I just forgot how much I hated him. I don't understand who. This guy was just there, just cackling, and good on everyone in this movie for trying. I suppose.
No, they weren't even trying. Nobody was trying in this movie.
Have you heard the fact that George Clooney, if you go up to George Clooney on the street and complain about this movie, he will reach into his wallet and just give you $10 and he'll be like, here's a refund for your cinema ticket.
Yeah.
And that's his way of apologizing. I'm like, George Clooney's a man of style. And he literally thought he had killed Batman off.
Yeah, legitimately.
Like
I don't blame him.
And it did go for 8 years.
Yeah.
Which is a long time for Batman. How long ago was the last Batman reboot? 6 years ago was the last time. Was it something like that?
Yeah, I guess so.
Just absolute hot.
Okay.
Garbage.
So, do we still have Arnold as the Mr. Freeze? I think we shouldn't. I think it should go for a smaller, thinner actor.
Okay. Yes. It's difficult. We can't really cast anyone because in my mind I'm struggling to say, oh, who was around then?
That's something we can figure out when we're drafting.
Yeah, because I think I know who I would cast as Mr. Freeze now.
Who?
I think Peter Capaldi would be great. Are you Googling him?
No, I'm not.
He is in the Suicide Squad, to be fair. But...
Oh, yes, him. Sorry, I was just looking in my mind. Yes, the Doctor Who. Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yes, he would work. What do you say we go into our writing room and we draft out the script?
Sure, let's disappear. Wow,
Okay.
What an intensive 18 hours we just spent in the writing room. We rewatched the movie 3 times. To be honest, Harlan has kind of fallen in love with it a bit, and I thought it kind of got a bit worse on the rewatches, especially that evil scientist guy.
Don't you dare speak for me. Okay. let's get into this. So first things first, we have recasted Mr. Freeze as Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins, hey? Nice to meet you.
That was a good one. Anyway.
Okay. I just like having inside jokes from our listeners. Speaking of inside jokes, what do you think Mr. Freeze would sound like if just what do you think he would sound like if he didn't sound like he did?
Probably like this.
You're not playing along.
Oh, well, hold on.
How do you not figure out every time?
What time of the year is it?
Winter? What are you wanting me to say?
Winter?
I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, in winter he'd sound like this, but I think more like around the fall time, he would sound like this. Mr. Freeze, nice to meet you.
Mamma mia! I can't think of an ice bun fast enough. Sorry, I literally derailed your entire plot thing after the first sentence. Did you just want to take it from the top?
Sure. We recasted Mr. Freeze as Tim Robbins.
Nice to meet you.
Ha 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 ha. Okay, and then Poison Ivy has no crazy freaking mad scientist person. She accidentally turns herself into Poison Ivy with an experiment gone wrong. And we're also dialing back the sexiness of Poison Ivy because it's just kind of a little misogynistic, right?
Yeah, and I feel like the movie is aware of this because later on Batgirl has the line of like, hey, don't just do this.
I know, but it's weird because like, I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right.
And then the two villains have an all-out turf war over Gotham, and Batman and Robin try to stop it. However, Robin sees what Poison Ivy is doing as noble, and wants to protect her from Freeze. However, Batman understands Poison Ivy is evil. And around that time, Barbara comes to town to visit her healthy uncle, Alfred. Then Robin leaves the Wayne mansion after an argument with Bruce. But before he can leave, Alfred hands him a mysterious suitcase, and then Robin leaves. Then with Robin gone, Batman takes Barbara under his wing,
That's funny because he's a bat.
dubbing her Batgirl. The two bats once again try to stop the turf war. They get close, but then are knocked down and are about to lose, only for once Robin, but now Nightwing to appear and finish off the two villains, saving the day. Afterwards, Nightwing says to Batman he won't be coming back to the manor, that he's going to work on his own, but if they ever need him, feel free to call. You know what? I think we did pretty good with what we had.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I think this is pretty. I think we've had better rewrites of scripts that are more intriguing, but I think we turned a turd into a glossy, pretty turd.
A pre-turd? Did you just
pretty?
Oh,
Pretty.
a pretty turd. That's what I think of you as. Anyway, what would you rate the original movie out of 10?
0.
0. I
give it a 0.5 out of 10.
I'd go maybe a 1.5, maybe a 2.
What did you rate Holmes and Watson?
Holmes and Watson's a 1.
Oh,
I feel like I'd give this a 2.
I give it a 0.5.
Maybe a 1.5. Maybe a 3. Maybe a 4. Actually, now I think about this movie, I know I just had a big old rant about how I actually don't like this movie. But you know what? I love it.
Stop.
I think it's the best Batman movie ever made. And I will change my mind when I watch The Batman, hopefully. But for now, I would just like to say this movie that it was ice to meet you. And this movie really kicked some ice.
What do you give a rewrite?
And I don't like this movie. That was just a little joke I was doing. I would give our rewrite a 7.
I give it a 6.
Okay. I was thinking 6, and then I thought, no, Dean, you're being too harsh on yourself again. This is an issue you have.
If this movie came out, it would still be hated.
I mean, I don't know. Ooh.
With the same characters, George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah, but in our one, they're just doing better acting.
Maybe it could be good, but like I think there's some rewrites being done where it's like this is like better. This would be a really cool story.
Like Ghostbusters.
But I think this one has a potential to like give some flaws and have some plot holes.
Yeah.
That's whatever. I think we did pretty darn good, given how I had no clue what to do before this podcast started.
That's what I'm here for, Harlan. That's what I'm here for.
I guess so. All right. Is that all for today? Are we
Yeah. Next week we're gonna be doing the guests best, and just we've mixed up the order a bit so we can talk about the Batman when that comes out, because obviously we're all very excited for the Batman. I love Robert Pattinson. I don't yet, actually.
What are you doing, man?
I haven't decided if I'm going to a midnight screening or not.
I got one. I got it for I think like 7:00 on Thursday.
Nice.
March 3rd.
Nice. So if I went to a midnight screening, we would be watching it. I'd be watching it an hour before you.
Yeah, I guess so.
How interesting. Anyway, adios, guys.
Go!
I can see your mouth moving. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
You're a big loser.